So a little while ago, I made this little arcade game where you click on this first circle, and it takes you to Racing Turtles. And then in my version of Racing Turtles, you could bet, and then you could win by winning a certain amount of money. And then you click here, and you can go to rock paper scissors where you're playing against the computer, and then you could win that. And then you can click here and you could play tic-tac-toe versus the computer, and if you win all three of them, then you win the whole game. And so, like, if I click on Racing Turtles, you could see here, like, how much do you want to bet, right? I have 100 in my wallet, and then I click on 40, and then I click on which turtle I want to bet on, purple, and then that should get me going, but it doesn't, right? So apparently, like, that doesn't really work that well, but the clicking on the Racing Turtles part does, right? Like clicking on this first circle. And so the way that you get this going is you do this. So hold on one second. Okay, so we have our main. We draw the three circles. We have this command right here, and turtle.done. So this is what makes it so that your program doesn't end without a exit on click. And this here is what makes it run this function called arcade when the screen is clicked on by the mouse. And this on-screen click function is special because it takes an x and a y value. And as you probably guess, that x and y value is where you clicked on the x-axis and where you clicked on the y-axis. So I could do something like x comma y comma y, and then if I run that, I'll get this screen here, and then where I click on the screen, you can see down here at the in the console, it tells me what the x and y positions are where I clicked. And so that's the first step, because what you need to do is check if they clicked in this area here. And you can't check if they click on a circle, but you can check if they click in this box from here to here to here and to here, right? So let me restart that just so that it clears up our console here. And I'll go ahead and click here, then here, then here, and here. And you can see here I get 3, okay, well, 4 XY coordinates. And so now that I got my XY coordinates, well, here in the arcade function, you can say if, right? You can check if they clicked in that section. So you could basically say if x is greater than some value 50, and x is less than some value like negative 100, and the y's match up, y is less than 200 and y is greater than negative 100, right? Then you know that they clicked in that first box, okay? And if that's the case, then what do you want to do? Well, you want to run some function, run a function, right, that will clear the screen and draw the new arrangement. Okay, and so that's how you get from one screen to another screen, right? But what about if on the second screen you want to have another set of menus that the user can click on, right? How do you do that? Well, let's say here on the second screen where you draw a new arrangement, part of that new arrangement is a set of buttons, just like you had here on the beginning screen. Okay, so how can we get this going where we will have one range of XY values where arcade is checking for the first screen, right? And then we'll have another set of X and Y ranges for the second screen. Okay, well, the way that works is that's the reason why we have some of these global variables, right? Like choose click. Okay, so choose click is equal to true. You would want to do this if choose click is equal to true. Okay, you would want to use these XY values, because this on-screen click, when you click, it always runs the arcade function. So it always runs this function here, right? So if you're on the first menu and the first menu has a certain set of X and Y values that it checks for, then you need to check if you're on the first menu. And the way you're going to do that is with this variable choose_click, which we're acting as a flag, which if it's true, then that means we are on the first menu and we want to use these sets of X and Y ranges, right? Else if, or elif, another set, right? Elif, another set, right? If there's 3 buttons. And then let's say this was the button that was clicked on. Well, it's going to run another function that's going to clear the screen and draw the new arrangement with the new screen, the new buttons. And in that function, you are going to set a global variable to true that was false, and you're going to set choose_click to false. Okay. So what about if we say here elif second click is equal to true, then have these other set of if else's, right? So yeah, so then when we first start the game, right, when we first print our first menu, we're setting choose_click equal to true, all the other flag variables equal to false. So when we click on the screen on the buttons presented here, it's going to come up here to arcade, and it is going to check these X and Y coordinates if these buttons were pressed. And then if they were pressed, then you're going to run a function that's going to clear the screen and draw a new arrangement, right? And not only is it going to draw a new arrangement, but we're also going to set choose_click to false, right? And we're going to set second click, or whatever variable name you want to call it, to true. That was false. Right? So then when the user goes ahead and clicks on the new arrangement or the new buttons, it's going to come back here to arcade, but it's not going to check these XY coordinates because choose_click was set to false. It's going to check these XY coordinates that are reflective of this new arrangement because second click is now set to true. Right? So it's going to come in here and do this. So that's kind of how you're going to do this. Every time you click on a new screen, you need to set the previous flag variable to false, and you need to set the new flag variable equal to true. And then you need to make a case here in the arcade function for that new flag variable, right? That reflects the positions of the new buttons. So yeah, that was a little bit unclear. It wasn't the best explanation, but hopefully you got how to have a turtle program that allows you to click on the screen to guide the action.